Hello, I'm Renuka Maithil. I'm the editor of Forbes Africa in Johannesburg. And today I'm in conversation with the man who is famously known as Nasty C. He is the multi-award winning South African rapper, also known as the coolest kid in Africa. He is recently signed with Def Jam Records in the US through a joint venture with Universal Music Africa. He has made his official US debut, and the signing sees him joining the likes of Kanye West and Justin Bieber. The 28-year-old rapper was also one of Forbes Africa's 30 under 30 list makers in 2018. Across to Nasty C, who's also in Johannesburg as we speak. So Nasty C, you've been in lockdown in Johannesburg for the last 2 months. And obviously at this time you were supposed to have been promoting your new album, Zulu Man with Some Power. So how has the pandemic stopped all your efforts at music? But as I imagine, music, like technology, I mean, to you as well, I'm sure it is something that can cross boundaries. So how have you been navigating this pandemic in your own way?
Well, I've had to focus a little bit more on like the digital side of things. So like as opposed to, because there's no way I could do shows like live with my fans. Like we prepared for the lockdown. So we bought like a bunch of cameras and lights and stuff. And I've just been utilizing this time to create and put out dope content for my fans to still like connect to me via, and yeah, that's it really. Just emphasizing a bit more on my online presence, I guess.
Your online presence. So can you just give us a little more of an idea of what your digital offerings have been like, as opposed to open air concerts and stadiums? What really do you do digitally?
So with the equipment that we have, we're able to go live on YouTube, and I'm able to connect with my fans, even if sometimes it's not really a performance. It's just like me being live and just conversing with my fans, you know. So we do that a lot. I shot a couple desktop performances, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes each, and I've just been putting those out on YouTube, you know, just giving my fans a taste of some music that's still to come, and some of the songs that might never even make it to like iTunes, stuff like that. So I've been performing like a lot of snippets just to keep my fans happy and
engaged. And engaged. So with this pandemic, it's a great unknown, it's a great uncertain. Where do you think the music industry is headed if this pandemic continues? What is the future?
I don't know. You know, music is very unpredictable. You know, you never know, because with the whole TikTok thing and Triller coming in, artists are able to make their songs go viral, you know, without having to leave the house. All you have to do is just have a good song that TikTok users can create a dance to.
Sure.
And yeah, and that's been working out very successful for artists, you know, and then they can find ways to make that earn them a little bit of money, you know.
That's
but
true.
I don't really think that artists are going to be struggling if should this go on longer than we expect it to.
That's very heartening to hear. But aren't you going to miss the energy of a live stadium and the audience and the connection with them?
Yeah, definitely. There's nothing that could ever top that or replace that. That's just something different on its own. Being present and right in front of your fans like that, and just that energy in that whole arena or whatever, nothing could ever top that.
Nothing can ever top that. So you've been known as the most streamed South African artist on Apple Music for 4 years in a row. And you're a part of a growing contingent of African artists that are now being recognized by the top US labels. So this crossover, I mean, you've always been wanting to be a part of that crossover. So in more than being a physical crossover, how do we cross the mental divide? You know, how do you bridge the mental gap? I mean, most of the time, like African fashion, you know, African music is also almost always perceived as Afro beats and rarely hip hop. So how are you transcending that divide now?
Well, I mean, I hope to change that whole stereotype by just putting out dope hip hop music, I guess, and just showing them that we have a lot more depth than they think we do. You know, we have a lot of different flavors down here with regards to fashion and music. You know,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of things that we could teach outsiders as Africans that they don't really know about like that. They just roll off of a stereotype and what they see from the outside looking in, like on the internet and stuff like that, and they just think that that's what Africa is. You know, hopefully
Mm.
with just like exposing more African artists, and if I can open the gates and have and like hundreds of artists follow after me, I feel like we'd be able to bridge that gap really, and they will really start looking at Africa in a different light, you know.
Yes.
Like with the music videos that we're shooting, we're making sure that they see the flyest parts of South Africa too, so they don't just think we just have a safari and that's it, you know what I mean?
That's true. No, that is so true. So the Universal Music Group just today, I mean, this morning they announced the launch of the Def Jam Africa, dedicated to talent in Africa. So how do you see, what do you make of such renewed interest in African talent or in reaching a global audience? Surely this
It's
is all extremely encouraging for you.
definitely, and it brings joy to us as artists, you know, who've been trying to put our music on a global stage, you know. Everybody else in the world paying attention to us
Mm.
just just gives us more of an opportunity to show off all the different types of sounds and flavors that we have, you know. It's you can see that music is going in the right direction and we're getting the recognition that I feel like we deserve.
And I think with more of these digital offerings that you speak of, technology will actually help that process as well in bridging the divide that you
For
speak
sure.
of.
Yes,
Definitely.
definitely.
So you've been rapping since you were 9 years old, and you brought out your
Right.
first album at the age of 15. Is
Mm-hmm.
that true?
Mixtape.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
it was
So what was your inspiration at such a young age? What are the inspiring lessons that you could give the next generation of African artists?
um well, I was mainly inspired by just Lil Wayne and T.I. and their ability to tell stories and really be a voice for different types of people. You know what I mean? Like people with anxiety, people
Hmm.
that are dealing with troubles at home, people who come from poor households and stuff like that. You know, they really sold us the story of rags to riches. You know, and
Yes.
and became a bunch of wise little gems that they dropped on us, like believing in yourself. People, when you tell someone to believe in themselves and have like unshakable faith and stuff like that, people might just listen to that and think you're just another person just regurgitating that we always stuff that we always see in like magazines and the internet and stuff like that. But watching my idols really become that in real life, they're a living testimony that, you know, there's a God somewhere and there's powers in the universe that could allow you to go from zero to hero. I just hope to teach my fans. You know, I come from a place where dreaming is not a thing. People's ceilings are like this low. You know what I mean? And they feel like they're undeserving of the finer things in life. And I'm just here to tell them that they're wrong. You know, they should really go for their dreams, no matter how crazy and outrageous they sound.
So you're only 23 and you sound very mature for your age, and you have a very long way to go in actually disseminating all that you've learned, from your experiences and from your music. What really is, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I hope I'll be in a position where I'm no longer looked at as just an artist, but somebody who really made a way and paved the way for generations and generations. Like how I look at my favorite artists, like how they paved the way and really shifted the culture and really made people of their community realize the power that they had within them.
Mm.
And I hope my fans always look at me as the one person who's always grateful for the support that he's been given, and someone who recognizes that I'm in this position because of them. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And we're all team players in this thing. We all make each other great. You know, that's what I hope to be, a mogul, like a legend. I don't even want it to be about how rich I am at the time or where I am or how my music career is. No, as long as I change the way my people think, I'll be happy.
That's fantastic. And who are your own African role models from the
Definitely
past,
people,
present?
definitely people like well, in the beginning, just being as a kid and not knowing a lot about artists outside of South Africa, I had AKA as one of my role models. Definitely Proverb is one of my role models. And then as soon as I started finding out about just like other African artists and the stuff that they're doing, and looking at the circumstances that they come from, then I really started gravitating to those artists, and really just like looking up to them. People like Burna Boy,
Mm.
Wizkid, who come from the worst of situations, but right now they're out there on the global stage, really representing Africa hard. Like almost every word that comes out of their mouth is about uplifting Africa, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch.
That indeed is a beautiful thing. So you made your official US debut with There They Go. It's a brand new single that launched just before the lockdown in March. In fact, it was shot in Durban, and I saw the video. It's really done a great job. And it's also
Thank
the first advanced track of your upcoming album, Zulu Man with Some Power. That's a very interesting title for an album. Can you
you.
tell us more?
Yeah, so with that, it's just going back to what I was saying right now. It's all about taking more pride in my people, my culture, my tradition, and just putting it out there on the global stage. You know,
Yep.
when people from outside of our borders hear about Zulu or anything Zulu, they just immediately think Shaka Zulu, and then that's the end of it. You know, I'm trying to, as I step on this global stage, I'm trying to bring my culture with me and make sure that I put them on as much as possible. You know, and just take more pride in my culture.
So you are the forefront of a new generation of rappers from Africa, and your hit songs have been "Juice Back" and "Bad Hair," and you're using your voice to bring the world to Africa. Now, in terms of the situation that we find ourselves in now with COVID-19, do you see music being used as an instrument for change? Earlier, you mentioned that a lot of people are suffering. There's a lot of hunger. There's a lot of poverty. Now, in the COVID-19 environment, you see more pandemic-inspired music content coming out of the music industry in Africa.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that it's definitely, there's an opportunity there for us to really use our music for good this time, you know, and I see artists are really doing that. There's a lot of online shows that I've been seeing where there's an option to donate there, and it's always a lot of people who just chipping in, you know, whether it's 5 rands, 20 rands, 200 rands, that money goes to people that really need it. You know, a lot of people a lot of people have to go out there and earn the day's meal every single day, you know, and
Yep.
with them not being able to leave the house, situations are tough right now. And we as artists shouldn't forget that those are the same people that stream our music. Those are the same people that buy our albums and praise us and really put us on a pedestal. So that should, this right here is an opportunity for us to just really do good on our part.
Do you have any music like that coming out in the next few months? And what are your plans for the remainder of the year?
So with me, I'm not really gonna make music that's about the pandemic. I'm still like staying true to just what I've always been doing, but we're planning on doing an online show, a ticketed event, but an online ticketed
Mm-hmm.
event where proceeds are split like amongst different places where we feel like we could lend a helping hand, you know.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much,
Mm.
Nasty C. So that was
Thank you.
the coolest kid in Africa who has now just made his official US debut. We were talking to Nasty C. This is Renuka Methil in Johannesburg, signing off. Stay safe. Take care.